Coming up, we're going from unseasonably cool to unbearably hot. What you need to know to stay safe in the heat, coming up.
Plus, the holiday weekend is here. What you need to know if you plan on taking to the skies or hitting the road before Tuesday. And with the 4th of July comes holiday fireworks, but those loud blasts can be traumatizing to some. How you can cope through the night. News 3, live at 11, starts now.
News 3 starts now.
Welcome to July, everyone. We have your heat wave team coverage tonight to break down this excessive heat. Our Ambar Rodriguez standing by with how cooling centers are working around the clock to keep the most vulnerable cool. Good evening, I'm Marie Mortera in for Steve Wolford. Let's start with meteorologist Ophelia Young. It was more on these blazing hot temperatures. Right now, more than 100 degrees, according to our Binion's thermometer.
Yeah, Marie, how the switch has flipped. We're just coming off the longest recorded period under 100 degrees, and we hit 100 yesterday, now forecasted to hit 110 as early as tomorrow. Now, 110 isn't unusual for Las Vegas, but officials are worried our bodies have not had time to acclimate to the heat. It usually takes 2 weeks to get used to extreme hot or cold. We're given 2 days, the record shortest time between hitting 100 and 110 is 2 days. The record set in 1955. We expect to tie that record with our forecast high of 111 tomorrow. But this isn't the only reason the National Weather Service has issued a warning.
Remember, too, is that the holiday means that we have tourism. So people are coming from different climates. If they're coming from Texas, it's already hot. They're coming to another hot place. But people are not prepared for how dry it is out here. So they get dehydrated very quickly, adding yet another vulnerability to heat.
So an excessive heat warning is in effect because it is a holiday weekend. There's little acclimation time, again, just 2 days, and little overnight relief. We're not even getting a break overnight, as the overnight lows are in the mid to upper 80s. Excessive heat warning plastering all of southern Nevada except for our local mountains. Highs up to 118 degrees, and in Death Valley, those highs reaching 125 this weekend. The heat risk index is moderate to major. It's moderate here in the valley, but it shouldn't be taken moderately just because of that lower, that short acclimation time. In other places like Pahrump and Boulder City, the heat risk index is major, which means anybody in those areas who do not have proper cooling or enough hydration can have health impacts because of the heat. Temperatures today ranging from 102 all the way to 112 in Sunrise. Tomorrow even warmer as our forecast high 111, 115 in Overton, 117 out in Lake Mead. So we'll talk a little bit more about how to keep yourself safe and the cooler air that is on the way. Of course, it comes with some winds on Monday. For now, let's get back to Marie at the desk.
But any sign of relief, good news. Ophelia, thank you. Well, not everyone has access to what you may have right now. Air conditioning and cool water. So several local nonprofit organizations are stepping in. News 3's Ambar Rodriguez saw firsthand what's being offered to those in need.
As we all know, this heat can be dangerous, especially if you are outside without shelter or water. Thankfully, there are several cooling shelters which are open to everyone.
The water's really icy and fresh. I really like it.
Ron Hayes was one of hundreds of residents using the city's cooling shelter. Like Hayes, many community members began using the vital resource due to the excessive heat. I would still be outside right now if there wasn't this shelter. Gerald Gutierrez says without the Salvation Army, he'd still be out in the elements. He isn't alone. Juan Salinas, the director of social services with the Salvation Army in Southern Nevada, says this year the nonprofit's day shelter is already seeing an increase in residents using it. He says there are no requirements needed to use the space, which includes an air-conditioned building, a place to shower, do your laundry, and connect with other resources you may need.
People can come in for a warm-up for a little bit and leave and go back and forth. The other thing that we provide on our campus is a free meal that is provided every day between 1:30 and 2:30. It's 1 hour, and during that 1 hour, we can serve anywhere between 300 to 500 meals in 1 hour.
Right now, the Salvation Army is in dire need of bottled water for residents using the shelter. Selena says when the weather reaches triple digits, the nonprofit goes through 4 pallets of water a week. When I was there, the organization was down to its last pallet. Anyone interested in donating can do so any day of the week at the shelter. Reporting from the studio, Ambar Rodriguez.
Travelers taking over the roads to get to that final destination by Tuesday. AAA predicts more than 50 million Americans will travel for the 4th of July holiday. That would be a new record for the 4th, beating the current record, 49 million travelers. That was before the pandemic in 2019. AAA forecasts most people will travel by car this weekend at more than 43 million. And if you haven't hit the road yet, well, they say tomorrow and Monday are good days to travel to avoid getting caught in heavy traffic. If you're heading out on the actual holiday itself, Tuesday, earlier or later is best, again, avoiding that daytime traffic jam. Let's give you a live look at Harry Reid International Airport, where many are taking to the skies to reach their final destination. But travelers could be in for some major delays with staff shortages and severe weather across the country. They'd also experience delays because of 5G, as cell phone carriers are now free to boost their signals near airports. Aviation groups warned the signals could interfere with certain airplane equipment. However, airlines were given a grace period to retrofit their fleets. A majority of commercial planes have been updated, but Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg warns not everyone is ready. Of course, the 4th is Tuesday and fireworks sales are skyrocketing. According to the American Pyrotechnics Association, sales this year are on track to surpass $2.3 billion, a new all-time high, and roughly 100 million more compared to last year. While the fireworks are fun for many, fireworks can also bring negative memories of pain and trauma for survivors. The Vegas Strong Resiliency Center is offering advice to those who need it. They say find a way to practice self-care. Journaling and meditation are two ways to do just that. Also reflect on your personal triggers, talk to friends and loved ones for support, and minimize the noise. Earplugs and noise-canceling headphones can help. The center also calls upon those using fireworks to be mindful of those living nearby who may be sensitive to the noise. There are plenty of ways to enjoy the 4th of July while staying safe here in the Valley. Scan the QR code on your screen to find a list of parades and fireworks shows through the holiday weekend. Still ahead, a cyclist memory lives on, the significance behind the 3 Feet for Pete ride. Local bicyclists are enforcing safety to remember one of their own. Las Vegas Centennial Subaru, in partnership with 3 Feet for Pete, kicked off its Ride to Remember cycling event in honor of Pete Mikowski, who was killed in 2013 after being struck by a truck while training on a ride. Hundreds of cyclists and local law enforcement cycled along a 28-mile ride from Las Vegas Boulevard to Jean and back.
Those of us that knew Pete just kind of wanted to keep his memory alive, so we created this this organization, 3 Feet for Pete. Obviously, the 3 feet comes into play with the Nevada's 3-foot cycling law, as far as protecting cyclists. And it was easy. It was kind of catchy. It was, 3 Feet for Pete, and it really took. We did an event our very first year and had like 200 riders, and it's taken off from there.
Nevada's 3-foot law says motorists must move into the adjacent lane to the left if possible when passing cyclists. If not, motorists must pass with at least 3 feet of space between that vehicle and the bicycle. All proceeds from today's event will support 3 Feet for Pete and Ride to Remember.
And coming up in sports, we're talking some Aces basketball as they capped off a big week with a little bit of revenge against the Connecticut Sun.
An 18-year-old in custody for allegedly stabbing a man to death in the Central Valley last night. Police have identified that suspect as Wyatt Conway. They say he was in an argument with another man, stabbed him, and then took off. The victim taken to the hospital where he died. Conway taken to the Clark County Detention Center where he was booked for open murder. Several new bills are taking effect today, and one of them is Senate Bill 322, also known as Rex's Law. The bill is named after Rex Patchett, a 13-year-old Henderson boy who was hit and killed last March outside of a middle school. The bill increases the penalty from 1 to 6 years to a minimum of 10 to 20, with additional years behind bars if that crash was in a school or work zone. A ceremonial signing of this bill with Governor Lombardo is set for next Wednesday, that is July 5th. In extreme conditions, we are reminded of the potential for fire danger, especially today. 10 years ago, the Carpenter 1 fire began, lasting for more than a month and destroying nearly 30 acres of forest land. News 3's Kalia Patterson shows us what's being done to bring the area back to life.
All the way across this entire basin, actually to over there. You can see that whole hillside is burned too.
It was a fire that terrified a community and tore down thousands of trees more than 500 years old.
Every ring is a year of the tree's life.
Ray Johnson with the United States Forest Service says the Carpenter 1 blaze didn't start as a major fire, but it had a major impact.
Well, the fire was fairly intense, so it burned everything that was in its path. People were really concerned. Some of them were gone 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They didn't know if their homes were going to be there when they got back.
Leaving the community to fight one extreme to the next.
The larger effect was the flooding at that time. Flooded some neighborhoods, washed away roads, was going through people's homes.
What saved the surrounding communities was cutting the fuel breaks months ahead.
What it did was lessen the intensity of the fire, which meant our firefighters could be safe.
Although the Carpenter 1 fire was started by a lightning strike, Johnson says people starting fires is still a concern, especially this holiday weekend.
Let people know that, like over the 4th of July, there's no fireworks up here at Mount Charleston, really any time of year. And that includes the safe and sane kind that are in town.
Walking through the once tree-filled forest, Ray shows us what there is to look forward to after 10 years.
This is a great example of a young new ponderosa tree. It's going to take many generations to get those large ponderosa trees back to where they were. But they are starting to regrow.
And the future after disaster is promising.
It was devastating at the time, but Mother Nature is healing the mountain and it's recovering very nicely.
Kalia Patterson reporting, KSNV News 3.
Let's turn now to your weather authority. Boy, it must have been nice to head up to the mountain today.
Yeah.
The cooler temperatures. We knew these temperatures were going to come, the triple digits, Ophelia, but did we think it was going to be like this and this quickly?
When I said it was going to come, when it would come fast, and it did.
She knew because she's the weather authority.
And we're going from hundreds to 110 in a matter of 2 days. It takes our body 2 weeks to acclimate, so it's feeling extra hot, even though, you know, hundreds and 110s, that's not new to Las Vegas, but live look out at the D. Binion's still reading 102, and it's 11:16 tonight. Earlier this afternoon, we were anywhere from 102 in Blue Diamond to 111 in Sunrise and Nellis. Yeah, we plan on reaching 110 degrees tomorrow, but today we were just 2 degrees shy of that, 108. It forecasts our official high at the airport, and that is warmer than last year where we hit 104. Now at 95 degrees, the rest of the valley also dropping in the low to mid 90s now, so at least we're cooling things off pretty quickly. 86 degrees, clear skies with light winds. We're going to drop down to 70s and 80s. As you could tell, no more 40s on this map. Mount Charleston down to 64 degrees tonight. On the satellite Doppler radar, clear skies as an area of high pressure circulates. That's what's responsible for the intensifying heat. It's actually painted all of the West Coast in one warning or another, including us here in southern Nevada, all of us under a warning except for the higher elevation mountains. An excessive heat warning saying, hey, the highs across southern Nevada this weekend can reach 118. Death Valley's highs up to 125. Their high tomorrow, 123. Caliente a little bit cooler at 100 degrees, 109 in Boulder City. If you're going to be spending the day out at the lake, 117 in Lake Mead and Laughlin. And in the middle, Las Vegas at 111. Breaking down your neighborhood numbers, Summerlin a little bit cooler at 108, Henderson 113, and warm out at Lake Las Vegas 114 degrees. Very hot and sunny. At least those winds will behave tomorrow. Now, your morning, since we haven't done this in a while, right? 95 by 9 o'clock. We'll be in the hundreds by 11 o'clock tomorrow, so we'll warm up really quickly tomorrow. Carry that sunscreen, that water with you as you head out the door. We do have some relief in sight as an area of low pressure will swing through Canada by the beginning of this week, just in time for 4th of July. Of course, it does come with some winds in the afternoon to about 25 miles per hour. But after that, hopefully winds will die down, we'll have some nice firework weather, and then behind the winds we have some cooler weather, 105, 106. But now we're calling that cooler.
Right.
You know, only just yesterday we were celebrating hitting 100 degrees. Now we got that 112 that'll make us acclimate real quickly.
And that's the thing, it's all relative.
All relative.
So by 105, it actually may feel that way.
Yeah, and you know, there's some people who probably came to Vegas for the 100s and 110s, and they're probably like, this is great. What are you guys complaining about?
Right. It's here. Feeling it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And now it's time for the Virgin Hotels Las Vegas Sports Desk.
Hey, what's up, Hoopheads? We're talking Aces basketball tonight as they capped off a big week with back-to-back games against the two other teams hot on their heels in the WNBA standings. And tonight, it was all about getting a little revenge against Connecticut, the only team to hand them a loss this year. Last time out, Connecticut, they dominated the paint, but the Aces weren't about to let that happen this time around, and it showed in the first. Aces up 3, and check out Candace Parker, the steal. Gets her Chelsea Gray on with a behind-the-back dish to Jackie for the deuce. Looks like an all-star to me, but hey, what do I know? Aces up 13-8. Asia and KP led the way in the first, combining for 20 points to help the ladies take an 8-point lead into the second quarter. And they kept on keeping on from there, playing out of their defense. Asia with the block on one end, the fast break, CP3 serving it up, and Alicia Clark does the rest down low, putting the Aces up 42-33. Parker was having herself a day, showing up on the highlight left and right. First the reverse layup, and then again on the next possession from Asia. She is playing with a chip on her shoulder, and it's an 11-point Aces lead.
Candace Parker's Candace Parker. She's a legend, a Hall of Famer in this league, so she's going to do her, and I think she's surrounding herself with all-stars like us. And we're just going to continue to gel and mesh and form that chemistry together.
The Suns started heating up, though, getting back-to-back triples from Bonner and Heidemann to cut the lead to 6 with about a minute and a half to go in the first half. But Vegas took an 11-point lead into the break and came out looking for the knockout blow. Gone on an 11-0 run to start the third quarter after Jackie stole it and KP buried it on the other end. You just can't stop these ladies at 70-48 Aces. All told, they would score 16 straight to start the second half and kept their foot on the gas from there. Late in the game, Chelsea Gray's reverse layup pushed her to 11 points, and for the second straight game, all 5 Aces starters scored double figures. If you've been paying attention, you know what that means. Another big Aces win and a little revenge to go along with it. 102-84 the final to close out a big week for the ladies.
It's very empowering and encouraging for everybody when we're getting stops. And I thought in that third quarter, I don't know if they scored for about 5.5 or so minutes, but it's a separation factor for us. So at the end of the day, I'm not coaching against the opponents. I'm saying, are we being who we're supposed to be, night in and night out? And through that, we're trying to create, like I said, winning habits by going to work and holding each other accountable.
Becky makes sure that we never lose sight of who we are. We have to play Aces basketball for 40 minutes, no matter who we're playing, no matter what the score is, no matter, I don't care what's going on the outside. She makes sure that we never have lulls and just feel like we're just complacent in where we are. We have to continue to play and value every single possession, because these games matter just as much as the games in the playoffs. So if that means cussing us out and going. But yeah, we just go ahead and play Aces basketball.
So tonight's win pushes the Aces win streak to 8 straight games. They've won those games by an average of 19 points. Pretty incredible. They are definitely cooking. Now they'll look to close out the homestand on Wednesday with a win against Dallas. For now, though, that is all the time we got in sports. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your night.
Finally tonight, national nonprofit Operation Homefront hosted its 16th annual Back to School Brigade today. The group gave out more than 400 backpacks filled with school supplies to children of military families. Since the program began in 2008, it has saved families more than $60 million in back to school expenses, ensuring that military children have the resources they need to succeed. And that does it for us here on News 3 Live at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.